Hello and welcome to the Golf Lovers United podcast. And yes, these are Bristolian tones, not Northern English tones. Mark, our good friend, has tonsillitis and is not with us. And we needed someone. I put up the bat signal. Jay put up the bat signal. And who came to our rescue? Akili from Drunk by the Turn. Akili, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you all, and we got a lot to dive into. It seems like.
And you've got that fresh Malbon drip on. Talk me through that, because that stuff is different, right?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. It's I'm currently back home in West Virginia. I spent the past few weeks up in New York seeing some family. No, I wasn't meeting with you, Sierra Jay, up there. I know they've been in NYC the past couple days, but yeah, this stuff's awesome. Steven's a great guy. He was one of the biggest inspirations for me as far as before I made Drunk by the Turn. He's definitely been one of the trendsetters as far as changing the game of golf, especially you guys saw this year Jason Day, the first male golfer on tour to sign with Malbon, which I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, let's get to talking.
On the Malbon thing, Jay, I know you and I discussed it before that there are so many different styles of golf. I did not think we were going to go down styles of golf clothing, but styles of golf clothing, there are so many different types. And like, you've seen it on the PGA Tour, you've seen it on LIV, you've seen like that in the last 2-3 years, things have got a little bit more wild. It used to just be John Daly and Ian Poulter's trousers, right? But people are going with different cuts, different designs. I'm all for it. I like that individualism. What do you think, Jay?
Completely agree. Like, that's been one of the best things that's come out of the last few years about golf is this, like, as some of the more traditional brands like Nike have reduced their footprint a little bit, there's been this space for some independent folks to sort of come out with some new sort of more modern stuff that I think is, I mean, look, this particular golf space, as the golf community starts to grow, like, you need to have these new companies that are thinking a little bit more forward thinking, or some of them are even going back in time a little bit with some of the old styles from the 90s and the 2000s, which I think is really good. And yeah, I think there's a lot of brands out there. And I think LIV has been a really good vehicle for some of these brands to sort of raise their standing a little bit. And I think that it's been a really interesting time, and I can only see that continuing forward. And the decentralization of golf apparel is going to continue to the future. I'm pretty.
Look at it, and look at the way the three. Like, if we'd done a golf podcast 3 years ago, right, we would have all turned up in a turtleneck or a V-neck jumper. And look at the three of us. So I'm wearing a Disney T-shirt underneath here, right? That's my Disney World, Florida blue. I'm wearing a 3/4 zip. You're wearing the flyest Malbon hoodie jumper thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
with like a very. And Jay, you're in a relaxed grey hoodie. Even the media, the way they're dressing has changed. The way they approach it has changed. And Christ, can't believe we're spending this much time on clothing. We've got to move on. But
yeah, it actually made me think of something before we move to the next topic. Now that we're talking about clothing and what's kind of how stuff has changed, rather than they'll tuck your shirt in club to come just play golf. If you've noticed, when Thomas Peter plays, I don't think he does it intentionally, but 9 times out of 10, when I see Thomas Peters, when I'm not at a LIV event and I'm watching, his shirt's untucked, probably because he's just so tall and, whatever. But
yeah.
It just makes me think, do you think we need to have people tuck their shirt in? Should you be allowed to play with an untucked shirt? I mean, what do you guys think? I want to hear your opinions on this.
Yeah, this is a block that I'm really, really big on. Like, I feel like, especially growing up on, muni courses in New York and being mostly a public golfer, like, people want to be comfortable on the golf course. Like, that's the number one thing. And a lot of these old sort of arbitrary rules that a lot of clubs have, they're kind of going out the window. Like, I went to a very sort of traditional golf club not too long ago, and I saw so many people in hoodies and stuff like that, which is really, really good. I'm actually wearing a extracurricular hoodie. Shout out to the Four Aces. Shout out to extracurricular. Very, very comfortable stuff. So I think the hoodies and sort of the modern styling is definitely catching on. I think there's a lot of clubs that are a very, very anti sort of this new sort of t-shirt and hoodie and sort of untucked collared shirt stuff. But it's like eventually I think people have to realize that like if we are going to make golf bigger, like you have to appeal to a more diverse fan base. And I think if people are more comfortable being who they are at the golf course, it's only going to encourage more people to actually play and pick up the game, because that was one of the things when I came into the game, gosh, almost 30 years ago. It's crazy to think it's
45
been
years
that long,
ago.
but
45 years ago.
Right. It's one of those things that like even I was like, oh, I had to be on my P's and Q's, like, oh, am I what I'm wearing, is it like okay, and like looking for approval, and it's like that's just not how it should be. There's always going to be places that are more traditional that want to control the environment a little bit more, and that's totally fine. There are private clubs and they could do whatever they want. But the fact is most golfers are not members of private clubs, and they should be able to wear whatever they want.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm big on your course, your rules. So I play a lot. I get to play a lot of really love courses in the UK. I'm playing Stockport Golf Club tomorrow. Stockport Golf, well, it won't be tomorrow by the time people hear this. On Friday, 26th, I'll be playing Stockport Golf Club. No jeans in the clubhouse. No golf shoes in the clubhouse. I got no problem with that. It's a private members club. Those are their rules. I have no issue if you're a private member and you're paying 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 20,000, whatever it is a year, and your membership doesn't want to have X, Y, and Z allowed. That's fine. But then they have to understand that many of those clubs won't attract the non-member casual golfer who can help increase your turnover. So it's 6 to 1.5 dozen the other. If you want it or don't want it, that's fine, but understand their consequences. Right. I don't think any golf podcast has done 7 minutes on clothing before.
Yeah, this was definitely quite the intro.
Before we move on, let's do one last thing on clothing. The Sunday Red Tiger design, is that A, a brilliant piece of marketing as everyone's talking about it, or B, awful?
You kind of caught me off guard there because I thought you were going to go with how close is it to the shark?
Well, that was my post. I got basically assaulted by like 200,000 views of people going, it doesn't look at all like the shark. No, I didn't say it looked like the shark. I said conceptually it's the same. It's an animal in profile, in movement, with an outline. I didn't say they look the same. Like, conceptually, they're the same.
Yeah. I've also heard Schlesinger too. Yeah. Schlesinger is another. Yeah.
I mean, it did look at, pretty, I don't know, the characteristics, the way it was, the lines, with the on the tiger, and then, how the shark has it the same way. It definitely did, but, as people are always going to say what they have to say. So
for sure. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. Obviously, this is something that we tipped people off to a while ago about Tiger going with TaylorMade for his apparel. I still think that he's going to keep that iconic TW logo. I think like just with any other brand, they're going to have a variety of different logos, and I think again, this is me putting my tinfoil hat on again and being a conspiracy theorist, but I feel like some of this stuff gets leaked just to like see people's reactions to it, and then it might actually get changed and such before it actually gets put out. So I don't know. Point. Yeah, I don't know if we could put too much weight into it just yet. And I think maybe because we did kind of call attention to the fact that it does look so much like, or it's inspired by some other brand logos out there, they might change it. But we'll have to see what happens.
So
that's the end of that. Then no one's sure. No one likes it. Right, come on, Akili.
It's fine. I particularly don't care for it. I think, really, it's arguably the greatest golfer of all time. I don't know. I feel like my 8-year-old brother could have made it, but that's just me. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
Yeah, well, now let's have we'll do your opinions. We're going to do some predictions in the show, and it's going to be Jay and I putting our predictions out. I will get them off Mark as well, and they will be, in fact, Mark will be editing now, and maybe he can just stop this and at some point and speak and say his predictions, but we'll have them. We'll stick them on the website and we'll stick them on the internet so people can see them. So we've got our season-long ones. So that'll be interesting to have all four of us go up against each other. But before we do that, I don't think there's anyone really, Akili, in the world that doesn't work for LIV that's done more at LIV events than you've done. How many you've been to way more than half. You've been to you've been all over the USA. You've built a fantastic sort of brand and name on being there, taking the element of golf seriously, but also spinning it and enjoying it. So talk to us about that first question you asked that sort of put you on the map. Talk to us about your journey with LIV and what you've seen, because you've got to know some of the players. Like you and I talk a fair bit, and some of the players have they've gone from being players to actual friends in quite a quick period of time.
Yeah, so I mean, we're actually approaching, I think, the 3-year mark here in March since I started it around my junior year in college. I kind of started it off as a joke. My baseball career had ended, so obviously needed something to kind of pick up on. And a couple memes later, you start growing and growing, and then LIV came out, and I just saw it as the perfect opportunity. Not only my name, I'm not the traditional, golfer as you guys know, or page, but it just goes hand in hand. Their vibe, their atmosphere kind of fit my niche and my following perfect, and I saw it as an opportunity. So my first event was in Chicago that inaugural season, and actually I'd been talking to Pat Perez probably 8-10 months prior with everything going on the tour and whatnot, and he hit me up and said I'll be teeing off at 10 a.m. on Thursday when they were playing at Rich Harvest Farms, and I walk up, and I was kind of nervous at that time, and I was outside of the ropes, and he looks over and said, what are you doing? Get in here. What the fuck are you doing? Like, we do things different around here. I tell people all the time at that moment, that's when I knew, okay, it's different. Like, that's, they make you feel wanted. It's not, somebody looking back and saying, shut up or be quiet while I hit my ball. It truly is one big family there. And, they've given me opportunities for my brand to expand it and, get traction rolling. And I think it's worked, vice versa with, like you had mentioned the questions that I had asked, the first couple ones that kind of, I guess, put Drunk by the Turn on the map, as a lot of people would say, with, of course, Cam winning the Open, the 150th. And, Rory had been, he had obviously had some words to say leading up to that with Cam, leaving mid-season, and I guess announcing or getting a deal done mid-season to join LIV while he was on the tour. Then, ultimately winning the Open was kind of that, I'm here to stay kind of moment for Cam. And I just saw it as a perfect opportunity, just for, many people that don't know what the question was. It was, I think I should be able to remember it vividly, but it was like a blackout when I asked it. It was Cam, I want to reflect on you being the 150th winner of the U.S. Open. I know you had spoken on how many beers you could fit in the claret jug. I was just curious, how many Rory McIlroy's cheers were you able to drink out of it? And I don't think it was Wolf on the left, Cam in the middle, and Phil on the far right. And Phil, obviously, God bless you, Phil. I love you. But at that point in time, Phil had no room for any type of error, whether it was a smirk, a laugh, or anything, although I think he wanted to. But, Wolfie, fell off the stage. It was, I don't know. I figured that, was kind of goofier, but it was also at, the right time to ask that question and, put some people in their place or whatnot. But, yeah. And then, we got the DJ question. If you were stranded on the island for the rest of your life, would you take Pauline or your fishing pole? That goofiness. But, in all seriousness, those two were, for me, an avenue to kind of, let people kind of know what I was about, what I did. I think the New York Post, Fox News, Sports Illustrated, Daily Wire, the next day I'd woke up and there was all these articles of, Dustin Johnson asked bizarre question, or Roy or Cam Smith laughs at this or that. And it was kind of like, wow, wasn't expecting that. So, I did my job there as far as trying to get people to know Drunk by the Turn and grow some traction. But, I kind of want to focus on starting to be that, a little bit more reliable of a source and, I guess, correspondent, as you would say, because, I didn't take it personal for a while because I think I kind of, I put it on myself as far as, not being able to be reliable or a trustworthy news source that they would say just from the memes and stuff. But I think I've cracked a decent bit of news before a few others, and I think it's time that I'm taken pretty seriously as far as who I know and what I know and how I know it. So
Yep.
that's that.
100%.
And I
Like
think,
you,
I think, go
yeah,
on, Jay, sorry.
yeah, I can confirm. All three of us have very, very solid resources in and around the live universe, and I think we've all continued to develop those relationships over the course of time, which has been to me one of the most fun parts of this experience. Like just getting to know some of the players and some of the executives. It's been really cool, and it's been a really good experience. And I have to say, like, I think all of us also see things sort of evolving a little bit. I think that when things sort of started off with live, things were kind of like the Wild West, and I think that as time has moved on, we kind of see things tightening up a little bit, and live becoming a little bit more of a sort of, I don't want to say a real sort of league, but it's like it's evolving to the point where it is becoming, as the footprint continues to increase, it is going to be covered a little differently, and I think it's something we all have to prepare for, and I think that some are probably better equipped to deal with change a little bit better than others. But yeah, I think Akili, you've done a really great job of sort of breaking some news. I know you were the first one really out there to sort of talk about the Trump Doral getting the event right before the Masters. I think I retweeted that. You were definitely the first one to break that. So yeah, got to give you a shout out. Got to give you your props. So
Likewise.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just I don't think even after those questions, I can tell you right now there will be maybe some friendly banter in the future as far as when that opportunity arises or if it comes at pressers. But going forward, like I said, it's probably you're going to see some seriousness all season out of me in the press room. So no more nonsense questions from Drunk by the Term. I'm sorry, guys.
There's got to be, the thing is, even if you're going to do serious, with your personality, you're a very fun guy, right?
Yeah, some would
So
say.
there's always going to be levity with it, right? There's always going to be levity. And like you made friends with Ben Baller, and I know you're going to play with Ben in the Pro-Am at Houston, and I think that, I know obviously you're going to come over to the UK, and hopefully Jay gets that passport sorted. If Jay gets that passport sorted, then Jay will come over with us, and we'll end up, I've already looked at the Airbnbs, we'll have a few of us in a house over next to the JCB and have a great time there. And that's naturally comes out of your personality. So while you'll have a more serious lean, you're still going to be you. You're still going to be fun.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about, before we go on to the teams, obviously, as we are now at 9:55 on the 25th of January, it's strongly rumoured that Tirwahatton is going to take a place on LIV. Moronk having obviously been confirmed by various sources in the last 24 hours. So that actually leaves one more player to come over as well. I think people are missing out on the fact there's 13 and 2 floaters. And with the maths, we still, let's say Hatton goes on to Legion 13, that still needs one floating player, assuming Caleb Surratt has gone on to John's team. So let's say that LIV get a top 100 player. I'm not saying a top 10. Let's say you get a top 100 player. Outside of the elevated events, there is no doubting anymore that LIV is the better tour, is there? In regard to depth of field? Absolutely none.
Yeah, I don't think it's close.
Yeah, I was doing some analysis of the players, the sort of top players, and it's becoming pretty clear. I might post this on Twitter sometime in the next couple of days, but it's like, if you look at
I'm sure
the
that'll
names,
be received well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think I've eliminated a lot of my a lot of my opposition over the course of the past couple months, because I was just totally tired of like the same sort of old tired accounts like posting negativity. I was just like, it's not worth it. So and that opposition, I still don't know exactly how real some of those accounts actually are. So I've done everybody a favor and just eliminated them from my timeline entirely. So story for another day. But I do think that if you look at the top 5, 6, 7 players, like I don't think if you line that up against the PJ Tour, like I know personally, and I was talking about this last year. Basically, all of the most interesting personalities and sort of gone over to live golf. Like there's not really that much sort of personality left on the PJ Tour, and we are getting pretty close to the PJ Tour kind of falling into that European Tour sort of level where like it's kind of becoming where the European Tour really became a feeder tour for the PGA Tour. Like I see a world like not that far into the future where the PGA Tour could easily be a feeder tour into LIV Golf, which I think is we're not that far from it. So yeah, it's going to be
pretty much
interesting
what
to
it's
see how it
been.
pans out.
It seems like, huh, the past year or so. But yeah, even just watching I watched a little bit of the Farmers this morning only because I put some money on Minwoo. But it just seems like it's been very corporate-y, like ran in the past, but it seems like now so more than ever. It's just, I think LIV has done a fantastic job with the way they've done things and just how it incorporates not only golf people, but sports fans in general and people that like to have a good time. It's very ran as a business as a whole compared to the tour.
It's why I'm going to be honest now, and this is going to be inflammatory, and I don't mean it to be. It's why part of me doesn't know if I want the deal to go through. Part of me goes, I'd love everyone to play together. I'd love this. I'd love that. But actually, what do I really want? I want to see what LIV becomes over the next 2 years. The only reason I want a deal to go through is if it means major access for the players. And interestingly, the Hack It Out podcast, they were talking about it, and they were talking about one of the ideas I've floated many times, which is you could end this really easily with the major discussion. If the majors just said, here you are, LIV. They said 5 on Hack It Out, but I said 8. Here are 8 places for you to dish out as you want. So LIV could do the top 8 players plus exemption. So if there's an exemption at 1, 2, and 3 in the standing, then those 3 places drop down. That seems to me to be the easiest fix. We know the majors don't want to do it. They're part of the cabal. They're part of all that. We know all that. But part of me doesn't know if I actually want to see a deal go through, and I just want to see that LIV be strong. I don't want LIV to give up on what they're doing. I'm actually really excited by the project they built. I think the longer it goes on, the less I maybe want to see a deal. And then I catch myself going, actually, no, I want to see all the best players play together. And I'm kind of torn between the two. What are your thoughts, Akili?
I mean, other than the fact that LIV doesn't have world ranking points right now, and I guess a major TV sponsor, I don't really think that they're missing out on much else. I mean, they're pretty much forcing the other entity or tour's hands, and I think that if you're LIV, what do you truly have to gain out of a merger? Because eventually you have, they just got ROM, as everybody in the world knows, but it's clear. Look how strong the field at LIV Golf is. They're going to have to at some point get OWGR points, and I'll say it, I think it'll be probably halfway through this LIV season that we see some form of OWGR points given to these players, because it's, common sense is going to have to become the number one option at some point. It's going to have to, if not,
sure.
A lot of people that don't want to lose their jobs are going to start losing their jobs quick. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, completely agree with that.
Jay, I'm going to say something, so I want you to answer it because you're an OWGR geek, right? OWGR means nothing though, Akili, anymore. Not because it's so out of date, but because the players have slipped so much. I'm right in saying, Jay, the only way OWGR matters is if they backdate points in like John Conrad's rankings on that he puts up on Twitter all the time. Because John has done it how OWGR will be applied to LIV if it had been done from the start. So if you start giving Bryson OWGR points now, it won't matter because the strength of field for OWGR is so low because it's got Bryson at 160 and other players, they're like Louis Oosthuizen at 190th in the world, whatever it is. I can know not Louis, I can't remember who it was. Down at 190th, it's obviously in the top 70 in the world. Yeah. So because they've all dropped so far down, those weighting points won't matter, will they?
Yeah, I mean that's part of it. The other problem is, you know, a year and a half ago, I think it was August 2022, the OWGR changed their formula and changed their calculations so that sort of strength of field does impact the points given to every event, which is obviously going to penalize LIV Golf because the number one thing that got penalized was sort of smaller field events, which is exactly what LIV is. Now, if you sort of project things out, you know, to the future, where you can certainly see a scenario where LIV goes to 60 players at some point, probably 2025, and they keep adding, you know, more solid players into the future like that. That strength of field is going to continue to go up. The problem is, again, it's not just the fact that LIV isn't getting points; it's the fact that they haven't gotten points. It's the fact that even if they were to get points now, I don't think there's really any way for like a LIV golfer to really like get up to like number one in the world outside of like winning 2-3 majors in a year. Like because there's so many factors related to LIV only having a very limited number of events, and the OWGR having a very large a divisor, which I'm not going to get into the nerdy math stuff, but there's all sorts of problems related to the OWGR, which is part of the reason why it's become, I mean, obsolete pretty quickly. And I honestly think that the easiest way to sort of rectifying that is basically just like lifting the bans on the players that went to LIV. Like there's a very sort of easy scenario where if the PGA Tour wants to invite a handful of LIV players into some of their top tier events that are getting a lot of points, it's basically like it's almost like winning a major championship in terms of getting OWGR points. So and I know a lot of these guys are perfectly happy playing in more than 14 events. I know I've sort of targeted 24, 25 events is sort of the number that a lot of the big name players play, like John Rahm and Bryson. I think has said he probably played that many, if not more. Patrick Reed probably would too. Some of the older players probably wouldn't. Except that's really one of the things that you can sort of do just like tomorrow, and be like, hey, you know, Bryson, we're gonna invite you to the Arnold Palmer Invitational. There's 70 OWGR points available. If you win that event, all of a sudden you go from wherever he is down in the mid 100s, can get back into the top 30 pretty quick. Like we saw with Nick Dunlap in at the Amex, he was outside the top 4,000 in the OWGR. He wins one event and he gets up to 68. Like that's crazy. So it just kind of shows how weighted PGA Tour events are in this, and there's a lot of things that have to change. I know this is a part of the merger talks and sort of having this global series that they're talking about that would probably get higher value OWGR points. So there's a lot of different components to it, and I'm sure this is going to be resolved here in the next few months. But again, we'll have to see and wait until the sort of final merger is pushed through. Yeah.
I appreciate you going into depth there, and I think the number one thing we can all agree on is that having not awarded them the points, simply now awarding them doesn't make a difference. That's the problem, because they've dropped so far down the rankings.
It's part
Akili,
of it for sure.
I want to know. I'm just going to spring this on you, and I deliberately didn't tell you this when we spoke. What's your number one most memorable moment that didn't involve you from LIV?
That didn't involve
so
me.
not you asking a question or you playing the pro-am or that video of you wrapping 3 irons.
This is going to be the easiest question of the podcast for me. It's Bryson's 58. It's hands down. Bryson's 58.
Just you were right. You were right on the green, right?
Yeah, and it was. I mean, it had to be. It was weird. I get chills even thinking about it. I mean, it was pissing the rain. Just, I mean, all odds were stacked against him. That course is tough enough. And you know, obviously Bryson had been through some personal things the past month or two, and it couldn't have happened to a better person, a better guy. You know, Bryson's awesome, man. He was, other than Pat, he was one of the first kind of LIV golfers that I developed a closer relationship to. he always responds to any message I send him. Actually, it was funny enough. I think, 2 weeks ago, I think I told you my boss, or not my boss, my uncle, his boss, his son is a 14-year-old. He's a big amateur golfer around here in Charleston, West Virginia, where I'm from. And he just defeated a rare form of leukemia. And he was ringing the bell that Friday. It was a Monday. Send a message to Bryce and I tell him what's going on. I say, this kid's, huge fan of yours. This is what he's going through. We're going to play some things for him Friday at his school for and when he walks in and ring the bell in front of all students. Within hours later, text me a video saying, congratulating him, pumping him up, giving him confidence. I mean, and a lot of people don't see that, man. A lot of people don't see that side of Bryson. They don't. They just want to call him every name in the book when they've never met the guy. So, yeah, Bryson, he's that 58, man. It was just being there and witnessing, that guy. He's, like I said, don't mean to, go on and on about him, but just seriously, you go to any LIV event, he is the first one at the range, most likely, and he is 100%. I can't remember a LIV event that I haven't been to that Bryson DeChambeau is not the last one on the range. It's actually insane. I don't know how the guy does it or puts his body through it, but yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, to go to my limited time, like I walked 9 holes with him inside the ropes, chatting to him, and he let me in inside the ropes. We were chatting, and within 20 seconds, it was like I'd known him for 10 years. He was so open and so kind and so much fun and just easy to talk to. But what I will say is I've never known anyone have the ability to go from, so this, and this, turns around, game face, process, hits a ball, watches the ball, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so it just carries on. But his ability to go in and out the zone is just unbelievable. And it's because when he's out the zone, he's so talkative and so lighthearted. And then he's back in it. It's a skill and a mindset thing that's quite unique.
Yeah, his mental toughness is, I mean, I would even, this is probably a bold statement. I'm sure I'll get attacked for it, but I'd put Bryson's mental toughness up there with Tiger Woods. I would. I mean, maybe, he's not, I mean, he's obviously certain things in the past, things happen as far as, the whole ants on the ball shit everybody knows about. So, but, other than that, as much hate as Bryson gets, there's not too many other players in the world that could play the level he does and with the level of hate that he gets from people that know nothing about the game of golf or him. So
completely agree. Just to sort of add on to that, like a lot of these guys, that's something that I've talked about and written about, is the fact that a lot of these guys that have gone to LIV are the most mentally tough guys, because it's like they knew how much blowback they were going to get going to LIV, and they decided to do it anyway. I think a lot of the guys did take a little bit of adjusting to sort of that new life. I think Bryson was certainly one of those people that, took a little bit of time for him to get adjusted. But I mean, the back half of 2023, like, I mean, you can make a really strong case that he was the best player in the world.
I'll tell you what, there should be a lot of people that should be glad that the majors were not half there in that run, because that would have been scary.
If the majors being back into July, August, September, they are going to get toasted.
Yeah.
Oh, right. For sure.
Let's
he's winning a major in 2024. He's 100% winning a major in 2024. I've gone out on a limb to say that.
Well, do you know, should we do our major predictions? No, we can't do major predictions. We've got too much to do.
You're getting me excited here.
We can't do major predictions today. However, I will send you some photos later of the Airbnb I found for us. It sleeps 6 of us. It's really close by. It's got.
But does it have a putting green in the backyard?
No, my house does, right?
Okay, so.
My house does, but my house is like 170 miles away. But we can't stay there because I've got a wife and a daughter, and my wife will not have 6 of us staying in our house.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good idea.
Yeah, especially 6 blokes who are going to be playing golf and drinking aggressively. Right. Let's do Mayakoba, and then let's do the season, because I got some different thoughts on Mayakoba in the season and what they're going to go down. So I want your top 3 players for Mayakoba, and top 1 team for Mayakoba. We'll do 3 and 3 for the full season, but top 3 players and top 1 team for Mayakoba. So who are your 3 players going to be?
I'll let Jay go first, just because I think I had mentioned to you guys before the show. My team prediction for Mayakoba is set, but it's really just we'll go. I'll let Jay go ahead, but Mayakoba is going to be a wild card.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so I think that this is a player. Look, I predicted him to win at some point last season on LIV. He didn't officially win at LIV. However, he did win a very big event, and that's Joaquin Niemann. I think Joaquin Niemann has been trending towards the back half of last year. He won the Australian Open. He played really well. He's played really well in the European Tour the last couple months. I think he's finished like first, fourth, and fifth in his last three events, which is really, really good. And I think his game suits. I think it suits Mayakoba. I think he's going to play well there. I think he's going to win it. So I've got Joaquin Niemann number one.
Right. Hang on.
Okay.
Akili, it's my fault. I didn't set the rules. Listeners, Mark, I'm sorry. Jay, you and I, we're all going to have to go on a timer. Because if we do our full length thinking on why someone's going to win, come second or third, we are going to be here till Tuesday.
No, it's fine. That's fine. Look,
right.
Joaquin
It's a
Niemann,
60
people have been
second.
giving...
When you get to 60, I'm going to give it this, and we've all got to finish. The timer's going. Right. Who's your second player? Go.
People have been giving me... I just got to give a very quick disclaimer. People have been giving me a hard time for pumping up Joaquin Niemann. Shout out to Lou Stagner. We've had some really, really crazy DMs the last couple months. He's been coming back at me. We've had some really, really healthy back and forth on this. So I had to sort of put him out on front street. The other two,
great show. He's trending.
Yeah, for sure. So the other two names, I'll be quick. I've got Patrick Reed. I think he's going to play really, really well. And I've got Bryson. We've been talking about him all most of the podcasts. Like I gotta keep riding him. Like I feel like he's going to be a top 5, top 10 machine this year. It doesn't matter what course they're playing. Like he is really dialed in. This is the most confident he's been, I think, in his entire career. And I think he's going to play really, really well. And as far as the team goes, that leads into my team pick for Mayakoba. Yeah. There's no reason for me to deviate from what happened last year. Crushers won. I'm going Crushers back to back at Mayakoba. They won pretty convincingly, and Bryson did not play well. So if you're telling me Bryson is now sort of at an elevated level, I think the Crushers are the team to beat.
Yeah. Those are great takes, Jay. It was actually, I think you kind of saw me light up as soon as you said Wako. I mean, I was going to go with the exact same thing. You know, it was I've never seen Wako more confident in his game leading up to the very end of last year. He had a great performance at the Greenbrier, which granted he's played there great his whole career, but that whole, back half of last season, he was lighting it up, and I could just see him, as a whole, he was happy, he was confident in his game, and Torquay won any more events than anybody last year. So I think he has good reason to be confident going into Mayakoba. So yeah, I'm gonna double down with Jay and Wako Niemann wins Mayakoba. And I got coming in second, I got Cam Smith. I think if last year, as we all know, I'm one of Cam's biggest supporters and fans, but his driver was just not down pat last year, and I think he took it kind of personal from a few people that said he looked out of form or out of shape, and that his driver was not a major contending driver off the box, but I just I think if Cam can come to play with his driver in Mayakoba, it's going to be scary for a lot of people. And then third, I got DJ. I think as long as he is, if he can hit fairways, he's got a good shot and he's due. So those are my 3 picks for Mayakoba, and for the team, I got Range Goats. It's probably going to catch a lot of people off guard, but like I said, we got Wolf. He's happy, he's motivated, he's one of the best young talents in golf. Yulan's proven what he could do with the aces, and then you got the Belgian Bomber Peters. Those are 3 solid, long drivers that if they can hit fairways. And, Bubba's going to come to play with his wedge game and his putting. Watch out for the Range Goats. So that's my pick to win Mayakoba.
To do this in a slightly different order, I'm going to go my team first. What is the number one thing you need to have at Mayakoba? It's a second shot course. We all know that. You've got to be in a good position off the tee, second shot course. Tell me a team of flushers, a greater team of flushers, iron players than Garcia, Anser, Shakara and Puig. If you are going to pick anyone to flush irons more than the improved Fireballs team. Well, Tees was great, but Puig is a much better player. I think probably finished 7, 8, maybe 9 places high in the standings. That team is loaded to death. Shakara is an absolute beast. Garcia hits irons purer than the driven snow. Answer had an off season, and if you look at Answer, sneaky hard off season, big time training, big time on the range.
He's on that Wahlberg program.
I didn't see that because I'm English and we don't get it. What was that program? Help 50% of our audience know what you mean.
Well, I mean, him, or you said Answer, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, Answer and Wahlberg I mean, they're best friends. Actually, I might as well bring it up. I think Jay wasn't there, but if it was in Tucson, I think it was. I had asked him about his actual relationship with him and Wahlberg, and they own the Flecha Azul tequila. So him and Wahlberg are really good buddies, I think, and they were training a lot, this off season. So back to what you were saying.
I think I want to pick one of the fireballs to finish in the top 4, and I want to pick Eugenio just because he's had a great off season and always posting about practicing, always posting about playing, but I do think that Abe Answer, Honest Abe as I'm going to call him, is going to come out and he's going to fight. He's not going to win. He's going in second place, but he's going to go in second place. Just so you know, I also think Majestics will get a top 3. If there's any team that have put more effort in the off season, I think Majestics are going to go top 3.
Hey, Answer, it's a home game for him. I know he's kind of the spokesman at this point for our golf in Mexico. I think he's kind of the front man of this particular event. So yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. I think he's a solid player. We'll have to see if that off-season training has worked out. Hopefully, he hasn't consumed too much tequila tequila that he owns. But no, I think he's going to have a good event and good season too.
My pick to win the event. Lean Dean Burmeister. Tell me, besides Louis, who's had a better off season?
He's won twice. He's won twice on the European Tour. Yeah. He was trending trending back half of last season. I've been touting Clean Dean for the last year, like ever since he came on LIV last year. I think that he's super talented, and I think he's only peaking now. So yeah, it's a great pick.
Now, I want to pick Bryson. I really want to pick Bryson, but you've already picked him. And I try to avoid the players other people have picked for when we're dishing out points. John Rahm is going to podium in his first ever LIV event. Get in, Rambo. Here we go. Can't believe you two clowns didn't pick John Rahm.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you why I didn't pick John Rahm. And it's not because he can't play, because we know John Rahm is arguably right now the best golfer in the world, but we don't even have a team logo for John Rahm yet. We don't even know who he has. I mean, there's a lot of stuff up here fluctuating in Rahm's head. So I think he's going to win at least 2 events this year, but I don't think it's going to come in the first 3 weeks.
Here's a question. Here's a question before we go on to that. How many majors will be won by LIV players this year?
I'm going to go 3.
To say just because of the pathway,
Yeah.
Well, I'm going 2.
I'm going 3. I think I predicted 3 the beginning of the season. I mean, I could see a scenario where LIV players win all 4, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, it wouldn't shock me. The only thing holding...
If that happens, we're going to have to go off Twitter because our Twitters will melt.
Yeah, it's they'll definitely shut down. But
for sure. But no, that is a good point about like major access. Like it would be an absolute travesty if Joaquin Niema's not in the Masters. Like that would just be like everything Augusta National allegedly stands for goes out the window if they don't invite Joaquin Niema, who's clearly 100%. One of the top 20 to 30 players in the world. And the only reason why he isn't in the top 50 now is because of politics. So if they want to stand above all these politics, he should be in the field. I've been touting it since last season. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think he's going to get invited. I don't think he's going to get into the top 50. But yeah, it's unfortunate. That's the only thing holding back LIV players is sort of access to these majors. But they have all of their top 6, 7, 8 players are sort of auto qualified for most of these, so they're going to be heard from for sure.
Yeah, and I'll even say this too: a LIV golfer will win the Masters this year. They will win the Masters.
I think it'll be 2, and I like. There's so many live players I like, but I'm just talking about redemption story. I love Brooks to win. I'd love DJ to win. I'd love P Reed to win. If I had to pick anyone to win one, just because I want the redemption story, I want Bryson to go to the Masters, and I want him to shoot a 63, 63, 63, 63, and go, I told you it was a par 63, and but not say it, just play it, not say a word, and just live rent free in everyone's head. Right.
Well, let's not forget Lefty finished in second last year.
I have got. Here's one of my favourite things. I got them. There's a photo the Masters put up with Lefty's score. Lefty absolutely mid-stroke. It's beautiful, and I got them made up, and I took a silver pen to Live London to get them signed. So Phil's brother Tim was kind enough to invite me inside the ropes with Teddy. And I walked with Phil and I chatted to Phil. I told him about the picture. I got him for him to sign. He said, yeah, don't worry. I'd love to sign it. Left them in the car.
Oh, my God.
Left
That's
them
a tragedy.
in the car.
Almost fumbled the bag worse than Monahan.
Yeah. That was Wyndham Clark and Fino levels of bag fumbling. But I'll get it another time. But I've got four. I've got four. You can have one. Jay can have one. I'll give another one to Mark, or maybe a listener if Mark doesn't want one. But hopefully Mark will want one. Right.
I've already told Phil really quick. I've told Phil that, playing well in the Masters is great and all, but he's done it so many times. U.S. Open at Pinehurst. This is his moment. I want him to win, complete the Grand Slam. They give him the microphone and say whatever he needs to say to the entire golf world. That is his stage. It would just be poetic justice. That's what I don't know if I've ever rooted more for any one thing to happen in golf history. That's it.
That's a very solid take right there, and it's definitely very, very possible as well.
Yep. And I know he wants it, so we'll have to see.
And I've already seen Masters commercials coming on ESPN, man. It's just they're teasing us. They're teasing us.
But who was I discussing this with? I don't know if I can say who I was discussing it with. Who was I discussing it with? No, I can't say who I was discussing it with. Now I remember. No, I love the Masters, and I've always loved the Masters. If the Masters doesn't have Joaquin Neiman in and Taylor Gooch, I hate to. Oh, people hate me saying, but I'm just being honest. I think it's got an asterisk over it. Two of the top 25, 30 players in the world. Even if you want to claim they're 49 and 50, they are still two of the 50 best players in the world, and they're not allowed in there because of politics. Yeah. Oh, they knew what they did when they left. Okay,
it's not about that.
I can hear you say that, but outside of that, you are choosing to not let them in your event because you politically don't want them to. That's it. Anyway, I can't talk about any more because it makes my blood boil. Right.
Me too. Let's move on. We'll talk about season long.
Yeah, because I was about to chime in too, and we should probably just move on. So
no, you chime in. I want to hear your anger.
It's nothing major. It's just if they should be disgusted after the year that Taylor Gooch had, even leading up to that Masters last year, and not to invite him that they should be disgusted with themselves to this day. And they should have already invited Gooch for this year if they had any damn sense. But that's just my take.
Yeah, but we know it's a closed shop. We know it's a cabal. We know they're all each other's friends. At this stage, it's Tiger Steinberg and his mates and XL versus Liv, Piff, and GSE. Let's not pretend it's anything else.
Yeah, XL is definitely.
Look what you've done, Akili. I wasn't going to go this way.
Yeah,
you guys really wanted me to go off on a rant here. I am restraining myself because I want to lean into freaking Mark Steinberg and Excel Sports and Management and all those guys right now. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to save it.
Yeah, let's not do that just out of the kind of people that we know in that circle that have, either formally or still on there out of, those type of reasons. We should probably stay out of that area. But I think we all pretty much feel the same.
They need to get on. They just need to get on. Like, Piff are not the bad guys. Liv are not the bad guys. The PGA Tour have no. It's
not even that they're the bad guys. It's I don't know what you guys are filming on right now, but it's probably a MacBook, and you probably have an iPhone. But we still have conversations with each other, and we don't point out each other's morals and put each other on a moral high ground. So it's people twist the narrative when they get exposed and stuff doesn't work out their way, and unfortunately that's just how the world is. So. People are always going to have something to say, but it's, success breeds envy, as they like to say.
And I like to say, and I said to a friend today when I was talking to him, I said, remember, a problem shared is a problem doubled. People say, "Oh, you share your problems, you half it." No, I just think if you share your problem, you probably doubled it. And there's so much problem doubling going on in golf at the moment, where people are worried about this, that, and the other. They're passing these problems around. It's really simple. We either get everyone to play together or we don't, and let's move on either way or not. It's time for an agreement or no agreement. But I think there's time for dancing and it's 6th of June. It's going to be soon. It's going to be 31st December. Oh, it could be just before the Masters. It could be just. I just want a deal. I just want to watch the golf. And I said the best thing for the PGA Tour, I don't know if you heard me say it the other week, Akili, the best thing for the PGA Tour is LIV season starting because they know their roster's set as well. So the PGA Tour can just get on and play their golf. The PGA Tour and LIV can both play their golf and they're not who's going where, who's doing this. I think that'd be really good just for everyone, just to get this season started now.
And not only just for golfers as a whole, but guys like us. I mean, there's no reason that we shouldn't be able to get along with everybody in the golf industry.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. And I genuinely do hope that there is a day, and that day soon, that we can all get along, because at the end of the day, golf is a sport, and we're all in the same boat. Golf is not different anywhere else than it is here or there. So it's. I think it would be better for everybody just to kind of, get along and come together for the good of golf. I think the pettiness and all that, that just needs to, die down and let bygones be bygones.
Yeah, completely agree. I know a lot of our cohorts don't necessarily feel that way, but look, Phil said it best. And look, if anybody's been, no one's been vilified more than he has. And I think he's been proven right probably more than like anybody else in the golf world the last 2 years. So if he's able to put all his pettiness aside and really be the leader that sort of golf needs, like we can all follow that lead too. Like that's it's only natural. It's going to have to happen. And look, people can be mad at me that like, followed me for a while that like want to maintain that same level of anger. But it's like, again, we just
don't want
all
to be friends
have
with
to
those
evolve.
people anyway. So
yeah.
I had some cretins say the other day, all you do is care about LIV, and I just screenshotted like in the last 5 days posts about Dunlap, posts about the PGA Tour, posts about DP World Tour. I put about 4 posts about the DP World Tour, what an amazing event it was, and Rory going back and forth, and Rory went. And people get their own narrative, and it just is so petty. I love all golf. I love golf. I set the golf account up watching the Masters. When Brooks won the November Masters, lay on a sofa, struck with COVID, and thought, I just want to talk about golf. And I talked about golf and golf. I didn't talk about LIV. I still talk about golf. That's all I talk about. Anyone who spends a minute with me knows I'm bloody obsessed with golf. I've got the PGA Tour here on my phone now. Like, it's there next to me. It's like, it's not I don't like the PGA Tour. I don't like the leadership. There's a difference. Right.
It's just for me, it's just DJ, like, sorry, go ahead, Jay.
You mean DJ winning the November Masters, not Brooks. People are going to come after you for that.
Sorry. When DJ won the November Masters. Sorry.
No, you got it.
Thanks for clearing that up, because someone would have gone, oh, it wasn't Brooks. Oh.
Yes.
It's 10:30 in the UK. I'm up doing a podcast with you two clowns. This is not like I'm not my cleanest I've ever been.
Fair point.
But no, you're right. Thank you for picking me up on that.
People had a lot to say about even that too, which I thought was just bogus about DJ's November Masters. I mean, that course doesn't get easier. Everybody was playing that same course. DJ just played it better than everybody else did that week. But
for sure.
Yeah, who knows, man? It is what it is.
People trying to downplay DJ's accomplishments is just like anybody trying to do that is like ridiculous. He's been one of the top 5 players of the last.
Well, if DJ was still with his past employer, I doubt they'd be saying that. But anyways,
right. Let's go on to the LIV season. Who's going to finish top 3 players, top 3 teams? I can kick it off. I'll lead off with the team. I'll lead off with the team. And I'll lead off with a team that's going to be not.
I'm going to throw you a curveball, Ben. I want to hear yours first.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Stingers.
Really? Interesting.
I think the Stingers, well, look, Louis had an incredible season. Lean Dean's had an incredible season. Brandon Grace is a sneaky good player. constantly sort of like top 7, top 9, top 7, top 9. He's always scoring points. And I think the Stingers are going to be there or thereabouts. Look, I love Charles. Charles is the weaker player of the 4. But I think what they will do is I think they'll get a top 4 position and they'll get through to that playoff, and I think they could finish 3rd. Now, the reason I put that out there is not because I think they're definitely going to finish 3rd, but I wanted to bring a different team to the party of a team I think I could do well. If you said to me, gun to my head, do they finish 3 or 4? I think they finish 4, but we're doing top 3. Go. Right. Number 2. Number 2, Crushers. They're going to drop one spot. Repeating is hard. Winning hard is once. Winning again is harder. Winning again is harder.
Yep.
Now, Team 1, the Fireballs. I think that Fireball team is super hot.
That's definitely I wasn't expecting that.
They have got 3 young studs in 3 of the best, like, young players in the world. Is Abe that young? I say he's young because of his youthful looks. They've got 2 of the best young players in the world under 23, 24 in Shakar and Puj, undoubted, who are only going to get better. Abe, they finished really well, and Abe had a pretty dreadful season. Where did he finish? 29? I can't remember. Around there. So they had a good season, and one of their best players had a bad year. I think the Fireballs are going to do it. I really do. So I'm picking the Fireballs. I want to pick the Crushers. I want to pick Bryson's team, but I just think it's so hard to win 2 in a row.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It is. That's definitely tough. As we saw the year the Aces had, even their first year, that run they went on, and that was remarkable. But even it's hard to go back to back, whether it's even basketball, football, or golf. It doesn't matter. It's hard. But I'll go ahead and give you mine. I got coming in 3rd. I'm going with the Crushers. I think they'll finish on the podium at the end of the year, top 3. But I just, like you said, it's hard to go back to back. But I definitely think they're up there, and I think they're going to compete like they always do. And coming in 2nd, I have the Aces, who are a lot of people know my and Jay's favorite team. But I don't know. I think they're going to compete, but I saw some things, last year going down even into Miami that, need a little bit of improvement. So if that, they can fix that hole, or, with Varner, they have Varner now. If he can, come to play and have a big year, I think they definitely have a chance to win it for sure. But I have the Smash GC taking it home this year. How can you not? You got Taylor Gooch and Brooks Koepka on the same team. That's a no-brainer. I mean, it's their team is loaded now. Brooks is always going to come to compete, especially, when he gets in that groove before major season. They can really probably pick up steam, especially Gooch. He's going to be fired up around then. I think they're going to win, 2, 3, maybe 4 events this year. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Completely agree with that take. I actually put out a poll earlier in the week asking people who their favorite team to win this year was, and Smash got 41% of the vote. So, no, I think that's a popular one. I don't have them winning it all though. So my top 3, I've got my 4 Aces. Number 3, we've already talked about the Aces. They're going to be in the mix in almost every event. Number 2 team, Smash GC. They're the most improved team by far, I think. One of the things about teams is that sometimes to really elevate, what you have to do is that 4th player has to be solid and consistent. And I think GMAC is going to be their sort of solid and consistent 4th player. I think he's going to add to the team. And I mean, whenever you have Gooch and Koepka as your sort of 2 horses, you're going to be in the majority of the events. I don't have them winning it this year, though. My number 1 team, Torquay GC. Torquay is coming. Torquay is here. Torquay is no joke. I think that they made 2 things that are really going to elevate them this year. One, as much as I love David Puig, replacing him with Carlos Ortiz, who was, really the most consistent player for the Fireballs last year. And adding him, I think he finished 15th or 16th. Adding him to a team where Mito finished 8th. Munoz finished 11th. And an improved Joaquin Neiman, who I think is going to elevate and be a top 7 or 8 player at LIV this year. They're going to be tough to. They're going to be tough to beat. And Wako, last season didn't really have a great season. He finished 21st. He's much, much better than that. And Torquay, I mean, they were a top 2-3 team last year with their number one guy not playing nearly up to his potential. So if he's going to be better, Ortiz is a slight upgrade over Puig. I think Torquay is going to dominate. Like, Torquay is going to win. They may win as many events this year as they won last year. 4 events. They may win another. They may like make it 5. I think Torquay is the favorite. I think people are sleeping on them, and I think they're the best team, top to bottom. They have a lot of depth. And again, a lot of this it depends on Wako. Like, if Wako plays the way we all know he's capable, like, Torquay is going to be there in the end.
Do you know what's so funny? I could do this again tomorrow and completely change. Some will agree with you, some I wouldn't. That's the great thing I think of it about LIV is he's got so many strong, fairly balanced teams. Like, who could argue is Smash? They got 2 strong players. GMAC has a lot to prove. Is he going to be that solid, consistent player? I think he will be. I'm a big fan of GMAC. Kokrak didn't have the best end to the season. And will he have corrected that? There's so many things you can argue with all these different teams. Like, Paul Casey's had a couple of injuries. Is he going to get injured again? Obviously, everyone hopes he isn't. No one wants him to get injured. What's that look like if he does get injured? There are so many different things to look at with all these teams. And I think you could pick any of the teams, really, and say that most of the teams, that they got a real good chance of winning.
Yeah.
Jay, you've got Torquay as your winners, Smash as your second. Who was your third? I didn't write it down.
4 aces.
4 aces.
I've got the 4 aces through. Yeah.
And big, go back to Kokrak real quick. I think even like, not a change of scenery, but with new addition to the roster and one leaving, I think Kokrak he might be a little bit more motivated going into this season, knowing that they are the cream of the crop. They are the ones that the aces and the crushers and the Torquay are going to be coming after this season. They are the aces of this season, like the aces were the first season. That's the position that Team Smash is in, and I think Kokrak's probably very aware. And Brooks is not shy to be vocal to any of his teammates, as we all know. So if Kokrak does end up slipping a little bit, Brooks is not going to be afraid to say hey, come on, I need you to be that 4th man that Pat Perez was on the Aces and still is. I need you to be that for us. So if Kokrak can do that, I think it's going to be Smash GC by a long shot.
Can I give you an interesting take on that? With people now seeing that if you don't finish in the top 24 and you're in that open zone, you might not be picked up. So we know the bottom 4 get relegated and they go into the qualifying event. But there is something to be said that if you're not a captain and you're not in that top 24 and there's some better players in the market, you could lose a place. So I think you'll see a lot of fighting and not fighting, physical, a lot of grit and a lot of not going through the motions. I think there'll be a lot of, let's just say, I'll pick on Smash. I don't mean Smash. I don't mean Kokrak. But as an example, GMAC 3 under, Gooch is 3 under, and Brooks is 3 under. Kokrak can't just settle going, okay, there's 2 holes left to play, we're in for 9 as a team today, if he's worried about his own personal place as well. So I think this year will flip, because a lot of people said, people are out of it individually and they're now playing for their team. I actually think there'll be a lot of, okay, their team are doing really well, but they've got to play for their spot because they know that relegation is real.
Yes.
That wasn't so well known last year. Now, there are people who didn't finish in that top 24 who are not on LIV this year.
Yeah. And a lot more of these contracts are coming up this year and next year. So, I mean, we're going to have a lot of turnover, especially with some of the captains. Like, their contracts are going to be up 20. I think it's 2025 for most of the captains. But a lot of these players that are known names are going to be not on contract past this year. So there is going to be a bit of a mad dash to sort of get into that top 24 safe spot. I think it's going to be really interesting. It's something that we have to keep an eye out on. And I think you're going to see the back half of this LIV season is going to be super competitive.
Yeah, I totally agree. And
Let's
I
have your
don't
three
think
top players. Because otherwise we're going to run till 2 o'clock in the morning. What time is it there with you guys? Because I'm now at 8,
it's
20 to 11.
5:40 right here for me.
5:40.
Yeah, 2:45 here. Yeah.
We're such an international show, aren't we? Right. Top
All
three.
right, I'll make
Top
it
three
quick.
individual players.
I'll make my top 3 picks really quick. I don't have to say anything other than the names. John Rahm, Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau. That's my top 3.
In that order.
Yes. I think Rahm's going to have a slow start. Except I think he's going to pick up steam. He's a locomotive. Like, that train's going to be running downhill. When we get to like Valderrama, he is going to be an absolute world beater. He's probably going to have a major under his belt at that point. He's going to be something to contend with.
He is LeBron at the Miami Heat. When he gets motion going downhill, there's no stopping him.
Exactly.
There's none.
Yep.
Go for it. Go for your 3, Akili.
First, I got to go with Cameron Smith. I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think he took that, pretty close to heart. Cam's a pretty quiet guy, but I think, if you're around him enough, you know him well enough that he doesn't take his game lightly at all. And I think he saw the Rippers post. He's had a well and relaxed off season, but I think he's been working pretty hard as well on that driver. So I think his driver comes to play, and I think Cam wins his first Masters this year. And I think he wins the LIV individual title. And then second, I'm going to go with Bryson, and then third with John Rahm.
Oh, this is so annoying. We got the same 3 players in a different order. Bryson's going to have it all this year.
Yep.
I sent Jay a message, and one of the groups were in. I sent Jay a message going, I just want him to have it all. I want him to win. I want him to win 2 majors, 2-3 LIV events, win the team event. Well, I want him to have a year. I think Bryson to win the overall individual. I've got Cam finishing 3rd, and I've got Rahm finishing 2nd. I think while Cam has had issue with driver and he'll get better, I also think that, and there are a couple of courses for Cam that don't just set up great for him at the start. That I think Mayakoba, Cam's a world class player, he can win everywhere. Of course he can, and he'll probably now win this and make me look like an idiot. And there's no one who's a bigger fan of Cam. I love him to bits. He's a great golfer. He's a really kind person. He'll talk to again, like Bryson, understating the fact he'll just talk to anyone and be kind with everyone. He's lovely. I think that Mayakoba doesn't necessarily set up for him, so I think there may be a cold start doesn't always help. And I just see Bryson getting a hot start straight away.
Yeah, I agree. But I also think that had a brain fart. Jay, go ahead.
No worries. Just to chime in on the Bryson thing, I'll be honest. I actually did have Bryson as my number 1, but I knew you were going to pick him, Ben. So I
How did you know that
at the last minute? Just the conversations that we had. I knew you were picking Bryson number 1. And people will see that in my LIV Golf season preview that I'm writing that I'll probably post this weekend, assuming we have all of the teams and the players by then. Like, as soon as we have that, I'm going to post my preview. So I'm having to reorder things based on sort of some of the things that we've heard. So we'll have to see how all that plays out. But that's something for the people to look out for sometime in the next few days.
I just want to close with one last thing. Have you watched Camp Confidential yet? The Majestics documentary.
I haven't seen all of it. I've seen the first episode, but I haven't seen all of it.
How good it's the production qualities outside of the content. The production quality is amazing. But I just wanted to say that I think this is one of the big things that LIV allows people to do, is it allows them to have that creativity and take their business model and do what they want with Majestics. But the honesty of Ian and Lee to go, we were really pretty poor last year, and we don't want to be. Ian used that line, I don't want to play 28 more tournaments. He's played 2 years, and that's it, and that's me done. I don't want to think I've got 28 more tournaments left. I want to earn my place. I want to do this. And I really have loved seeing that. I really hope the Majestics have a fantastic season, not just because I think they're good people and I've enjoyed watching them, but I really like it when people lay themselves bare and the honesty in that. What have you two thought about it?
Well, I think the thing about the Majestics is, given that I think three of the four are captains, correct?
Yeah.
I think with the Majestics is they're kind of their destiny's in their own hands, I guess, because when you can't get relegated, you really have to come up with your own kind of motivation and light the fire under your own ass and your teammates' ass. So I think it ultimately comes down to how bad they want it, because if you're making this money and you can't get relegated, really you can go out there and shoot whatever you want. So I think if the Majestics and Paltz and Westwood and the rest of the crew, which I love, I think if they kind of want to stop hearing some of this noise and chatter from some of these people on social media or the Golf Channel or wherever it may be, they need to step up and have a good season, have a pretty big season.
Yeah, I agree. That's where one of the really interesting things that they mentioned in Camp Confidential was how having the three captains does give them an inherent advantage where they can sort of load balance and share the load of responsibilities. That hasn't really bore out the first couple of seasons, unfortunately, but I do think I like how they're preparing for this year. They're using analytics to sort of improve their standing. I am going to give them something to shoot for because in my preseason rankings, I have them 12th out of 13 teams. So I had them initially 11th until the Cliques had a major upgrade with Adrian Moronk. So I've got the Cliques moving above them. I've got Majestics 12. I want to see them way higher than that, though. I'm rooting for them. I love Poulter. I love Westwood. I love Stenson. Sam Horsfield, I think, is a really talented young player with a lot to prove. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they get on this season. So we'll have to see.
Look, thank you so much, Akili, for having you come on today and being with us. Jay, I love you to bits, buddy. It is 10 to 11. I've got a round of golf in way too short a period of time. I've got to be up in 7 hours to have breakfast, then go play golf. So I want to say good night to you two. I love you both very much.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Good problem to have.
Sorry?
Yeah, good to talk to you, Akil. I was saying that's a good problem to have. So, good to see you playing golf on a
So
Friday.
what before we go, when are we going to see each other next? What is it going to be London? Is that what we're shooting for?
I think so.
I'm probably going to Saudi and Valderrama as well, but I know you're not going to Saudi. I know Jay's not going because
you never know. They did lift the alcohol ban after 72 years today. I don't know if you saw that.
Did they really?
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
They did.
Interesting.
Drunk by the turn.
Yeah,
that's on brand.
Might take one. Watch out, Saudi. Watch out, Jeddah. But no, I'll be a good boy.
Is that real? Are you pranking me?
No. Search it up. But we won't get into that. I promise it's real though. It is real.
Yeah.
They did lift the ban.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to see you in Miami.
Wow,
so
Saudi allow alcohol sales for the first time in 72 years.
What?
That's got different.
They don't have to take the Princess Yacht out to sea anymore to get a little buzz of Chino in. So,
but there's no progress going on in Saudi Arabia. There's nothing. Everything is how it was 50 years ago.
The crap that gets talked about in the Middle East, having worked over there, it really annoys me. I end up defending the Middle East a lot because I've worked out there. It annoys me. Right, let's not talk about that. We're gone forever. Jay, thank you, my friend. Akili, we're gonna end up doing. It's gonna be JCB because you two aren't gonna probably come to Valderrama, so it'll be JCB, right?
Yep.
Everybody, thank you so much. Mark, you close the show off. You're much better at it than I am. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.
Yep. Thank you, guys.